Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Epstein. Name three things that don't hang themselves.
Ah, yes. Drywall, Christmas ornaments, and Jeffrey Epstein. Three things that don't hang themselves. Senator John Kennedy, the funny one. A very good Wednesday to you, and welcome back once again. It's Hump Day in America. Hump Day at the Clinton household. I think they're in New York now, one of their many multi-million-dollar mansions. Being Hump Day, Hillary Clinton waking up once again face down in a pool of her own dried vomit. It's a Wednesday morning tradition in the Clinton household. She has to get out of the house lickety-split, because on Hump Day, Bill Clinton, he gets the house to himself. Hillary waking up face down in a pool of her own dried vomit with an empty one-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay next to her, and the Secret Service standing over her, tisk, tisk, what might have been and thankfully was not. Remarkable times. And that means also, what else does that mean, Michael? That means that it's Mailbag Day. Mailbag Day here on the Chris Plant Show, because it's Wednesday, Hump Day, and Mailbag Day. Great stuff. And big story yesterday, big stuff going on at the White House. President Trump responding to a reporter's question about Jeffrey Epstein, who either did or did not kill himself in a jail cell, one or the other. Those are the two options. I'm not aware of a third option, but Democrats might come up with one third option. And somehow there is just a lot of weirdness around it. Strange stuff. You know, hey, we're going to... The Pam Bondi Justice Department, the Kash Patel FBI, Dan Bongino, who going in said he's going to, one of the things he's going to get to the bottom of it. Turns out there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list, right? There's no Jeffrey Epstein. How can you have a list of clients? Did anybody make a list of the people? Let's say Jeffrey Epstein didn't actually keep a list. The federal government, when going through the process, you think maybe they would have put together a list of some kind. So you can say it's not Jeffrey Epstein's list, but there is a list of Jeffrey Epstein clients, right? And then, here's the video. We've got video from outside the jail cell, and it just plays and plays and plays, and the prison guards that are supposed to be keeping a close eye on him, they are nowhere to be found. And the video then skips a full minute, 60 seconds. And Pam Bondi explained yesterday at the White House that that's because every night at that time, the videos, because it's from the 1990s or something, and let's play that 1990s, because the video, I think they have a VHS or a beta deck there somewhere, and they are recording the video of the camera for the high-profile prisoner who is on suicide watch, and he's not supposed to have sheets and belts and a long noose with a yard arm, not supposed to have that stuff in the jail cell, so he can't kill himself. And the guards are supposed to keep a close eye on him, but the guards were off somewhere playing whatever they were playing, Yahtzee. I think they were playing Yahtzee in a different jail cell area. Amazing stuff. And Pam Bondi explained it thusly.
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it on Epstein. That's every night there's going to be a minute missing, and here's the minute that's missing. Take our word for it. It's just an old VHS videotape, and every night has the same missing minute. And I've got to say, I don't want to be a cynic here, but showing me that the same minute is missing from the night before and the night after doesn't actually solve anything. It just says that our government is stupid, ridiculously incompetent, and they should all be fired. The entire government should be fired. Speaking of which, all the USAID people, U.S. Agency for International Development, that were let go, they are now engaged in an open conspiracy to derail the Trump administration and duly elected public officials by career bureaucrats from inside the machine. That's quite remarkable. But before I get back to that, because it is a big and crazy and third world story, let me get Mark Epstein, the brother of the late Jeffrey Epstein, the presumably late Jeffrey Epstein. Mark Epstein was on the television last night on News Nation, and he is having none of this.
I asked to get the footage from that same camera on the Freedom of Information Act from 10 o'clock the night before until noon the following morning. That would show who locked up the tier, who were the last people on that tier. And in the morning, it would show, Michael Thomas going in the garden and finding the body, and it would show what the situation was when they removed the body from the tier. I was initially told I couldn't get that footage because it was still an open investigation. Okay, I understand that. But then when the investigation was over, I asked for that footage again, okay? And I was now told that the cameras that were operating don't show that area.
That's right.
I have this in writing from the Bureau of Prisons, that the cameras that were operating
I remember.
don't show that. And I was very specific about the footage, the same footage that Bill Barr saw.
No, Mark, listen, I get it.
Yeah, Chris Cuomo gets it. That'd be the first thing that he ever got, since he's the Fredo of the Cuomo family and all of that. Isn't that remarkable? So they said, oh, yeah, we can't give you the video of your brother's untimely death in a prison cell because it's part of an ongoing investigation. Then the investigation was concluded, and then they couldn't give him the video because, apparently all the evidence is destroyed immediately after they have a bonfire in the courtyard or something. Democrats come in and use Molotov cocktails to firebomb the things like it's a Jewish governor's house. Isn't that amazing? Remarkable stuff. All right, Michael, let's take a phone call. We don't have another good soundbite on that, right? Oh, well, we've got, we want to get to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but let's go first to a telephone call. Let's go to Chris calling from Fairfax, Virginia. Christopher, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call as always. I just have a question. What's Ghislaine Maxwell in jail for? Right?
Yeah, for trafficking underage girls.
To who? To who? That's not record? That's not we don't know who that's from?
Yeah, why isn't 60 Minutes breaking down the door to get her on camera to reveal all of the secrets that everyone wants the answers to? And she was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And
For
Jeffrey.
For what?
Yeah, and
Who did she provide it to? Who was she providing these people to? There's a list. It's there.
Yeah, sex trafficking of a minor, transporting a minor with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, and 3 counts of conspiracy. And she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. She was living the high life, New York and private jets and islands and all the big wigs. And now, 20 years in the can. And
there has to be receipts. There has to be receipts to these people. She was providing them to who? Who was she providing them to? You can't be convicted of something if you're providing it to nobody.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Epstein was in prison, and these crimes were being committed against underage girls. That's the story, as the story goes. And the underage girls were being used and abused by adult men who flew to a private island on a private jet, some of them on their own private jets. We had allegedly one member of the British royal family, which is surprising because I didn't know they had any heterosexuals in the British royal family. But
Very good.
But it is, the whole thing stinks from start to finish. But then I've got to say, Chris, that that President Trump came in and Kash Patel took over the FBI and Pam Bondi took over the Justice Department. And there was a great sigh of relief from millions of us who said, well,
absolutely.
Yeah, on this and so many other big issues, and there's a big one today with John Brennan, the former CIA director who voted for the Communist Party candidate Gus Hall for president of the United States and was made CIA director by Barack Obama, who was mentored by a communist named Frank Marshall Davis when he was a teenager. There are communists everywhere in this thing, and they brought in Van Jones to the Obama White House, who was a declared communist, and I see a theme emerging here, and it is...
You were just making way too much sense. You were making entirely too much sense, Mr. Plant.
But I got to say, Chris, that we all expected, well, President Trump's going to come in and all this is going to become public. We'll learn the truth. We've got Pam Bondi at the Justice Department. We got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, for the love at the FBI. And all this is going to become public. And then what we get from the government just sounds like more government stuff, doesn't it?
It does. You know what I'm thinking? I had a conversation with my friends. They felt that they were all Democrats. I'm sure there's Republicans on that list too, and I think that if you released the list, it would just bring the government down.
Well,
I think there's obviously there's not all Democrats.
Yeah,
Republicans
that's right.
are on this list too.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I would fully expect that. I don't. This town is a mystery to me. And the sexual deviancy of so many adult males and apparently some females in political circles and in big money circles in New York and Los Angeles and beyond is almost mind-boggling. And the obsession that so many people, largely the left, have with underage everything, with transgender twerkers.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, let's go. Let's let the kids change their own genders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No tattoos. Tattoos are not okay. That's permanent.
Yeah,
Your
right.
gender isn't, though.
Well, you can't go to a tanning salon until you're 18 years old, much less get a tattoo. But they want transgender people twerking in your kindergartner's face, all the kids.
Disgusting.
And if, as a parent, you object to that, then the FBI comes and knocks your door down. It's
because you're a domestic terrorist, then.
We're living well, yeah, and there's a lot, right? There's a lot of domestic terrorism, and the domestic terrorists, several of whom apparently transgender in Texas, attacking ICE with 12 of them had body armor.
100% of them are on SSRIs or some sort of barbiturates. The school shooters, they're all on. They're mentally ill.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. That's what it is. Hey, I want to make two more points really quick if I can.
Yeah, sure.
I would really like if you had a shirt at the Chris Plant show with all your nicknames. Colonel Kleb, Penitentiary Face. Just have it all. Just have all of them. I think that would be great. Wouldn't that be great? We're just having fun, Chris.
Michael's nodding. Right? I'm gonna take that in. I think that'd be a great, just all the nicknames, Well,
I think we would like that.
And Penitentiary Face is in the news again today, as I said. Now, and he belongs in a penitentiary, John Brennan.
Well, because his face looks like he belongs there.
Oh, yeah,
That's
definitely.
Why he's got that nickname.
Yeah, he's born to the penitentiary, born. Yeah, not to the manor born, to the penitentiary born. And he does look like he should be dragging a tin cup back and forth on the bars of a prison in a James Cagney movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then lastly, I just want to mention Eric Chiaramella. Haven't forgot about you, buddy. No one's forgot about you.
Eric Chiaramella. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about, Chris.
I do, yes. And
and
look,
I want to let him know. I'm going to say his name, and I haven't forgot about you. All of us Americans haven't forgot about you. No, it needs to be brought up. I'm sorry.
Well, there is so much to not trust our government over. Am I right?
I know, and absolutely. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I listen to your show on the daily basis. And I've called you about 10 times at least now. I don't know if you remember me, but you just spit the truth, and you just make entirely too much sense, and then you throw a little bit of irony into it. A little, and then you bake the cake, and then it's a good show.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I can't I can't explain all of it, but I try, and there are a great many mysteries.
They don't you don't have enough time.
Well, that's right.
They only give you 3 hours.
Only 3 hours a day.
You don't have enough time. That's not enough time to cover everything.
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to need, a breakaway and start my own 5-hour podcast and bring friends in or something, because it just goes on all day and all night long. It's a mad, 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 mad world. Christopher, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Eric Chiarmella now at the Carnegie Endowment, and yeah, Ukraine, Soviet Union, Russia, yes, intelligence agency guy, and fascinating stories everywhere. If only I had enough time. Yeah, we do have penitentiary face Brennan update coming up as well. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. All right, I've got Marjorie Taylor Greene on the subject coming up for you. Right now, let us go back to the telephones. Let's go to Joe, calling from the great state of West Virginia. Joseph, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Joe.
So, let me start by saying that I'm a strong, God-fearing man, but I've made my mistakes in the past, and I've had some travels through MDC in Manhattan, where Epstein was.
The prison where he was being held. Uh-huh.
Yes, the prison where he was being held. It's almost impossible if you're on suicide watch to commit suicide based off of the type of mattress they have in there, the type of blankets. They don't really give you sheets that can tear or blankets that can tear. And they also put you in a cell where there's nothing to really hang on. It's just one bed. So unless you're going to lay down and almost try and break your neck on your own, it's impossible to hang yourself. Just from an inmate point of view. Uh-huh. Also, the guards make rounds about every 10 to 15 minutes, and even if they were just playing Yahtzee or playing on their phones, they should show some sort of rounds at least an hour, if anything, for making sure they're still in their cells, making sure they're still alive, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It counts at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., stuff like that.
So you're not buying it?
No, not at all. And I love Trump.
You've been in that. You've been in that who's go, and you didn't buy it from moment one.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
So you believe that he's like a Christmas ornament. He didn't hang himself.
It's impossible.
Wow, Joe, thank you for calling in, buddy. I appreciate it, and good for you. Good man. Thanks. It should also be noted that it was nearly 1 year ago that a Democrat brought a rifle to a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, climbed up on a rooftop, Thomas Crooks, and shot President Trump through the ear during the rally, murdering one man. He kept shooting. He murdered one man, wounded several, including President Trump. Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was 20 years old at the time that he was shot and killed, fortunately, by U.S. Secret Service counter sniper, because Crooks was the sniper, and the counter sniper took him out with one shot, one kill. But Crooks fired 8 rounds. He had an AR-15 style rifle. It was a style rifle. And he murdered a man named Corey Compatore and gunned him down at the Butler rally, shot President Trump through the ear. That was on July 13th of 2024. So the 1 year anniversary of that is this Sunday, I believe. This Sunday, 1 year ago this Sunday. That was less than a year ago. Boy, it's been an action-packed year, hasn't it? Man, that's crazy. That was July. Then we had a presidential election. Well, Joe Biden dropped out of the race, and Kamala Harris And I had predicted, we have the date on that, 7/11 of 23, I think. Isn't that right? I think it was 7/11 of 2023 that I predicted Joe Biden would not be on the ballot come Election Day, right? Man, oh, man. July 11th. Oh, you actually have it right there. July 11th of 2023, I said this. Today is July 11th. It's 7/11. And I'm here to tell you that Joe Biden is out. Joe Biden is not going to be the Democrat nominee next year for the presidency of the United States. There, you know, the magic 8-ball would tell you all signs point to Chris is right. 7/11, July 11th of 2023, and I said, yeah, Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee. And it took more than a year for that to even become a part of the conversation, because I'm Jean Dixon. She used to predict the future a long time ago. Yeah, but 1 year ago, July 13th, and now that's coming up. Today is July 9th, and the 1-year anniversary. Boy, it has been one hell of a year. Yeah, and he was shot and killed. And then another Democrat tried to shoot and kill President Trump creeping through the bushes at the golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. And he was trying to assassinate. He had a rifle, and he was planning on. And then Secret Service spotted him in the hedgerow. And then as he fled, a passerby spotted him fleeing the scene. And it was the passerby that was the key to catching that bad guy, the Democrat Party. And I got it. The Democrat Party is violently, criminally insane. They're a terrorist organization. I think we posted a poll on Twitter yesterday. Should Democrats be allowed to own firearms, right? Should Democrats be allowed to own firearms? Because they got to go through the NICS system, you know, the instant background check for purchasing a firearm. And if you're a registered Democrat, I think you should be prohibited from owning firearms. What do you think? And what was the other part? Oh, yeah, should Democrats be allowed to fly on commercial airlines, or should they all be on the no-fly list? I think maybe they should all be on the no-fly. Flying would be so much more pleasant, wouldn't it? It'd be much more polite. People would be a great deal more polite. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. And why? Why, you say? Well, I shared with you this story at the time, April 9th. Assassination culture. Half of left-leaning Americans say assassinating Trump, Musk is justified. What? It was a survey, and then it just falls off the table because of the Democrat Party's information dominance, right? But in April of 2025, a new survey reveals that about half of Americans who lean left politically believe murdering President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk is at least somewhat justified. Sure. As concerns mount about assassination culture. Now, the Network Contagion Research Institute at the Rutgers University, they've got a social prescription lab. That's what they call it. And they released the report in April called Assassination Culture, How Burning Teslas and Killing Billionaires Became a Meme Aesthetic for Political Violence. Well, for the Democrat Party, it did. The data included a report based on responses from 1,264 adults in the United States of America. And the main takeaway from the report is that a broader assassination culture appears to be emerging within segments of the U.S. public on the extreme left. Yeah, but it's not the extreme left. It is a great deal of the left. It is almost most of the left, if you identify as being left of center. And that doesn't mean you're an extreme leftist. That just means you vote for Democrats. Then you're likely to say, yeah, Trump should be assassinated. And what about Elon Musk? Oh, yeah, he should be assassinated. We played lots of audio on this.
Is Elon Musk next?
Is he? Oh, I hope so. I hope his Luigi's out there somewhere.
I hope his Luigi Mangione, because Luigi Mangione gunned down and murdered a CEO on a sidewalk in New York City because he was a CEO and he worked for a healthcare insurance company. And Therefore, he had to be killed. And the Democrats, they worship the killer. I would rather have dinner with the guy that he killed, the CEO, much more interesting conversation. But the Democrat Party, very, very unwell. Among the whole sample, 31.6% of respondents maintained that murdering Musk was at least somewhat justified. That number rose to 48.6% among Americans who identify as left of center. So 48.6% of Democrats said murdering Musk would be at least somewhat justified. Right, sure. An even larger share, 38.5% left-leaning respondents, as actually 55.2%. 55.2% believe that murdering Trump was at least partially justified, right? More than half. That's your Democrat Party, okay? And that's considered to be perfectly normal in Democrat Party circles. Aren't they amazing? And we just had the left attacking ICE agents in Texas, a dozen of them. Now, 11 of them have been charged, and their plan was to murder as many ICE agents as possible with AR-15 style rifles, as the news media likes to refer to them because they don't know the difference. And is it a long gun? It's an AR-15 style rifle. It must be an assault rifle. Aren't they amazing? And the Democrat Party, they're out there. They've got little militias, and this little militia, I've got to say, and they're basically Antifa. The attack on the ICE agents, and then another attack by a suicidal lunatic who was gunned down by the police. He was there, and then liberals had a conversation with the liberal about that guy yesterday, and he said, well, his father said he was having a mental crisis. I'm like, well, every Democrat's having a mental crisis every day. The Democrat Party is instigating and inciting these attacks. Just extraordinary stuff. ICE agents targeted in 2 ambush attacks in recent days because the Democrat Party, they have incited all of this. And from the highest levels of the Democrat Party, they've incited all of this. The headline from yesterday, the Alvarado ICE facility attack, 11 charged in ambush on ICE officers, officials say. Other headlines say that 10 were charged, but the 11th was charged with conspiracy based on what I've read. 11 people have been arrested in what the police call a planned ambush on ICE facility in Alvarado on July 4th, right there on the 4th of July, because Democrats, they're not well. Should they be allowed to own firearms? If you're a registered Democrat, should you be allowed to fly in airplanes? At least Democrats should still have to take their shoes off, don't you think? I think so. Also, just see that the Democrats attacked the Republican Party GOP headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia, and they're not the good guys. They're violent. They're criminal. They do an awful lot of this, by the way, violent attack. And our news media, they cover up for it because they're Democrats rather than journalists. And what was the report that I heard yesterday was that bodily fluid. There was the attack on the Fairfax County headquarters involved the disbursement or application of bodily fluids. Now, the Democrats, they're not normal anymore. They're really not. They're not good neighbors. They're not. It's gotten violent and creepy and mob-like and very third world because the Democrat Party. Amazing. And I was sharing this story with you earlier as well. Trump fired them. Now they're plotting to stop him. Former USAID, the Agency for International Development at the State Department, they're worried about the future of democracy in America, so they're actively organizing to resist Trump inside and outside of government. This is a truly amazing story. This should involve pre-dawn FBI raids with flashlights on helmets and long guns that are AR-15 style weapons. So the democracy-building experts at the State Department have created an underground network inside the government and outside the government for people at the State Department, at USAID, and those who have been fired from USAID. And their plan is to undermine the elected president of the United States because they're commies. You can call them Democrats if you want, but the informal network of Trump opponents are sharing an old CIA pamphlet with allies who still work in the government. It's called Simple Sabotage. Widespread practice of simple sabotage will harass and demoralize enemy administrators and police. This is their plan for the U.S. government. These people need to go to penitentiaries, along with penitentiary face. The saboteur may have to reverse his thinking. That's sexist. It should be their thinking, not his thinking. What about the women that want to sabotage Trump? Where he formerly thought of keeping his tools sharp, he should now let them grow dull. Surfaces that formerly were lubricated, now should be sanded. Normally diligent, he should now be lazy and careless. This is they're plotting against using CIA tactics and techniques, undermining governments overseas. They're bringing it home to undermine the Trump administration and the U.S. government. These are the deep staters. These are the permanent bureaucracy. These are the bad guys. Man, oh, man. Man, oh, Manischewitz. I am telling you, you're a Democrat Party. Yeah, the poll. I haven't looked at the poll today to see, should Democrats be allowed to fly commercial, registered Democrats, of course, and should they be allowed to purchase firearms, or should the NICS system nix them? You know that this country was built on hard work and grit. Whether you're a person that stands long hours every day, runs errands from morning to night, maybe you're just doing your part to keep the world turning on its axis. You shouldn't have to deal with fatigue and foot pain, and that's where G-Defy shoes come in. G-Defy shoes are built with a patented VersaShock technology. The Federal Trade Commission has authorized G-Defy to tell you and all of us that these shoes do help to relieve minor occasional pain associated with walking, running, and prolonged periods of standing. G-Defy shoes help absorb harmful shock. They align your body, improve your biomechanics, and return energy with every step that you take. My best girl and I, we've got G-Defy shoes. They sent them to us. They're wonderful. We hike. Your arches feel better after you hike. Right now, you can get 50% off your order of $120 or more by texting Chris, that's me, to 91888. Or you can go to Al Gore's amazing internet and just go to gdefyshoes.com, gdefy.com, and use the code Chris, CHRIS. Code Chris, also available at 91888. With G-Defy's 60-day risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Message and data rates may apply. Yeah. All right, and I've got penitentiary phase coming up, too. There are a lot of criminals in the city of Washington, and a lot of them, when communists are in charge, assume positions of authority. I've got an update on penitentiary phase and James Comey, too. You know, Mr. Seashells on the seashore. All right. Why don't we go to a telephone call? What do you say? Let's go to Mike calling from Washington, D.C. Mikey Mike, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm great, Mike. What do you say? What do you know?
I know that conspiracy charges allow the government to go after crimes that would typically be outside the statute of limitations.
All right.
So if the last crime happened within the 6-year statute of limitations, they can then include all the crimes previously within that statute of limitations. So Comey and Brennan, everything they did going back 10 years, 12 years, is now going to be investigated. And it all started the day that James Comey, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton were on the White House lawn, and Joe Biden announced he wasn't going to seek the nomination for president because James Comey held over the problems with his finances and his family finances over his head to make him drop out, and Kash Patel knows it.
And is Kash Patel going to reveal all of this?
I certainly hope so, and let the investigation take the legal means it needs to, and the due process go through what it has to go through. But for all the people who are worried about a 6-year statute of limitations, conspiracy eliminates that problem.
Well, that's fun. I was never worried about the statute of limitations, but I am worried. I just want to see John Brennan dragging a tin cup back and forth across the bars of his cell, and I want to see it in black and white, just because it fits in better with my thinking of him being out of a James Cagney movie and in prison in the old days. Yeah, but let me update you on Brennan and Comey coming up.